So hello and welcome to Bitesize Edge. This is our series of podcasts where we get to speak to what we affectionately know as our Edgeites, those fabulous individuals who have been through their NLP training with Edge and have a story to tell. So this morning I'm very pleased and excited to welcome Chris Alcock, and Chris is a trainer in lean thinking. And I'm going to leave that there because, Chris, I'm going to come to you and ask you about that in a moment. So welcome, Chris. Thank you very much for talking to us today.
Thank you.
And Chris, I guess the first question is really around what drew you to NLP, and when did you actually connect with NLP and start your training?
Okay. Thank you, Jools. Can I firstly start by saying how wonderful it is to be invited by you and Pip to participate in this series. I've listened to a few of the episodes and they've been really rather inspiring, Jools, so thank you very much.
Well, you're very welcome. It's wonderful to have you, Chris.
And it's great to be on board. Thank you.
Well,
okay. Can I start by telling you a story, Jools?
Please do. You're a fabulous storyteller, so I'm going to sit back and relax.
Thank you. Okay. So my background, you're very right. I give training courses. I'm a coach. I'm a mentor in lean thinking, which is about helping organizations become the best they can be, which is a lovely way of expressing it. And my background is actually IT. So I worked in IT for many years, and since was made redundant a few years ago, and since then I've changed career direction and give my training courses, run my training company, which I enjoy very much. And recently I've been invited on site by a company to actually do some IT work for them, and I explained that it's not really my main thing any longer, but you know, they valued the experience and the knowledge I have in IT, and they said, "We're sure you can help us, Chris." So I said, "Go on then." And the story is that they used to have a very large IT installation, and the company went through a downsizing, and a lot of the kit that they have, they no longer need it, or it's no longer working, it's no longer fit for purpose, and they can't adapt it to their current needs. So it's just kind of scattered around the organization, not really being used. And some of this equipment helps connect all of their network together. And there's a big pile of what we call switches that help connect all of the different devices, different kind of communication together, effectively help the organization communicate very effectively all of the different parts of the organization. And these switches, there's a big pile of these switches that were no longer working. They'd been cast aside, put onto a heap. People couldn't really make any use of them any longer because, well, they'd stopped working very effectively. So I thought, well, either I put them in the skip or look for some sort of ecological recycling centre, or I give them a go to see whether I can get them working again. And quite rightly, they looked as though they were kind of waste and not fit for use any longer. But I put in some effort. I connected up some diagnostic equipment. I kind of looked on the screen to see what was happening to them. And bit by bit, I began to realise that these switches, actually, what had happened over many years, they'd been locked down and so tightly set up that if a switch has a number of holes where you plug wires in, and let's say a switch has 24 sockets, 24 holes where the wires get plugged in, Jools, most of these were locked down so that only certain types of messaging could go through them, only certain types of information went in, only certain types of information went out. And quite frankly, I wasn't surprised at all that the company had concluded that they weren't fit for purpose and they needed to be disposed of. But what I did was I was able to reset them as all. I was able to clear away all of this kind of lockdown kind of functionality, release all of this kind of communication channels inside these network switches and get them all working again so that they're all as if they were brand spanking new out of the box. Brilliant.
Fabulous.
Yeah, did that yesterday and overnight realised that was a metaphor.
Isn't it just?
Isn't it just? And it's a metaphor for the start of my journey with NLP because I'd been invited on site to by a hospital trust to help them use the lean techniques to actually improve the organizational performance and help, shall we say, help find the blockages in kind of value flowing towards the patients in the hospital. And so I gave training courses, organized workshops, worked with the staff, but finished that contract having enjoyed it greatly and having really made a difference. And people have come along to me afterwards and said, actually, what you did really, truly helped us. But I came away feeling that on certain levels, I'd not been able to engage with the people at the trust, the staff, the administrators, the nurses, the clinicians, the doctors, the people I'd been working with on certain levels. And if I use the expression on an emotional level, I wasn't able to communicate them with the way I wanted, and therefore the rapport, the engagement, some of it was missing.
Okay.
And actually, I've told Pip this is the reason why I'd heard of NLP. I went on one of Pip's taster sessions,
Yeah.
and this is why I chose to go on start my NLP journey. And yeah, had many days of training, of coaching, of guidance with Pip and you, very obviously, on the practitioner course, the master practitioner course, and the master coach course. And I've got to say this, Jools, this has just come into my head. The first time I met you was on the practitioner course.
Yes.
And Pip started the morning, it was a Sunday morning, and then halfway through the day, she said, oh, at some point we're going to be we're going to be joined by the wonderful Jools. And you walked in the room and you were introduced as the master coach. And there was such a presence about you, Jools, that I thought, wow,
Oh.
I want to be where that person is. Yes, I was deeply impressed by the way you held yourself and the way you spoke. Subsequently, I've learned that you've had your acting career and that's helped you so much. And I thought, I want to be where that person is. And so the long story is that I went through all of my courses, and late last year I did my master coach course with Edge NLP, and I am where you are.
Wow. Chris,
Yes.
what a wonderful metaphor.
And it's not yet finished, because recently I gave one of my lean courses to a mental health trust, going back to where I'd been before. And I felt so much that I was engaging with all of the people on all of the levels. Yeah.
Wow.
On the
Yeah.
technical level, on the rational level, on the content level, but also on the rapport level, of helping the class stay engaged, so that they were having fun, they were having learning, and I could see lights coming on in their eyes. And when I asked them to have group conversations, group discussions, there was such a buzz about the room. I felt tremendously fulfilled. And that's part of the reason why I went on my lean journey. And of course, I'm now doing a piece of work, IT work. It's not my main forte now, but I'm still doing some IT work. And those switches, you can connect any device to them, and they're clear channel. They can communicate fully on all levels with all of the IT equipment in the company. And when in the past they were locked down, now they're fully open and free to communicate with all of the information and all of the messages that are coming into them and going out to them. So they're absolutely perfect and fit for use. So there's loads of stuff all in there, and I just wanted to tell that as a story.
I love that as a story, Chris, and I love the fact that you're able to connect that to almost, the beginning of yours, making all of those steps through and working with those switches and getting them working again, resetting them, clearing away all that doesn't serve, allowing that connection and that flow, and that being part of your journey. So now that you can very proudly call yourself a master coach, having moved through.
I am. I'm thrilled, and I'm thrilled in the way that I can help other people.
Yeah.
I can. One of the things that hey, I've got to tell you this, Jools.
Go on.
You stuff that's just happened this week to me, where I've been kind of overcoming limiting beliefs and kind of doing stuff that I didn't used to think was part of me.
Yeah.
So as part of my time working with you and Pip, one of the courses I attended was a learning how to speak in front of people with confidence. That was something that you facilitated and led,
I did,
Jools.
the Presenting with Impact course. Yeah.
Oh, yes, yes. So one of the key moments in that course for me was firstly observing and listening to your amazing listening skills, and that's become such an important part of who I am now. I've recognised that in the past I focused on the technical stuff, which needed sorting, but I wasn't able to kind of encompass and bring in as much of the human stuff as I'm now aware of. And my listening skills over the past couple of years have increased, so that the thing I now most enjoy is actually talking and listening to people, actually listening to them, hearing what they have to say, and understanding on ever so many levels what it means for them. And I saw that I've modelled you in terms of those listening skills, Jools, but also the speaking skills. So this is what I wanted to say. This week, I went to a kind of a protest rally. One about something that's happening in the news at the moment, and
May it remain nameless.
yeah, it remained nameless, and it was outside a major train station, and I'd been there previous rally a week ago, and the shall we say, the main chap who was running it, he kind of he spoke to me, and he said quietly, he said, "Would you like to have a word? Pick up the microphone, pick up the megaphone, and speak to the gathered crowd."
Wow.
And I said, "I'll try that a bit later." So anyway, later on, he kind of nodded at me, and I nodded at him, and he invited me over, and I picked up the mouthpiece for the megaphone, and I pressed the button, and I spent 10 minutes talking to that crowd, and I felt totally, completely relaxed.
Oh, that's amazing, Chris. And how did, once you'd your message across, how was it when you knew that message had landed?
It was when I put the microphone down, and when, just kind of went back to kind of stand amongst other people. One lady in particular, she said to me, she said, "Very well done." She said, "There's some very powerful themes there. Thank you so much." So
Wow.
that meant a lot to me, and kind of fulfilling these mini dreams and them being part of a bigger dream. So these are all of the, shall we say, "Oh, I couldn't do that," is what I used to say to myself. And now I've done it. And I know I can do it, and I know I can do it with an even bigger audience on an even bigger stage. And
Absolutely.
actually, is it Anna? Is it Anna Parker Naples?
Yes, Anna Parker Naples. Yeah.
Yes, I listened to Anna's podcast the other day, and when she said she's a motivational speaker, a few months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, I was updating my list of goals, and I wrote on that I would like to become a motivational speaker. And what happened this week is one of my steps towards that. And I want to kind of get in touch with Anna and, kind of do a little bit of modeling, do a little bit of listening, hear about her journey, because I'd really like to do that. And I know that I can.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Chris, that's incredible. That sounds just, wow. It's interesting, isn't it? Because we are privileged enough to be alongside, our fabulous Edgeites as they move through their journey.
Yes.
And it is such a privilege. And it's so incredible when we get to this point of someone like you, Chris, who's gone through that whole journey. You've reached Master Coach, so you've got to the top of your top, really.
Yes.
And now you're proving each and every day that those NLP skills that you've learned and have embedded are allowing you and helping you and aiding you to be the best version that you can be and be all that you want to be. And it's just so incredible for us to watch that. And you talk about Anna Parker Naples, her journey too, looking at where she is now to where she was. And that's part of her story when she speaks, and she does her speaker slots of just how far she's come. And it's just such a privilege to watch people's journeys just go from strength to strength. And you mentioned there, Chris, the fact that you go back to your goals. And we talk a lot about goal setting and visualization and intention, and affirmations, and bringing that of your desired state into your, really into your conscious, so that you can, as we always say, the conscious is the goal setter and the unconscious the goal getter. So giving yourself that opportunity to make it happen.
Yes.
It's encouraging to hear that you go back to your goals and you look at them, and along with your stories of the switches, resetting and thinking about where is it going to flow next.
Yeah, so, that's right.
So part of that for you, Chris, is that motivational speaking.
It's now become one of my goals, because I kind of now reset one of those channels in myself and recognize that the one thing that I thought I could never do is actually the one thing that I really enjoy doing. And people also tell me that I'm actually very good at it. So something that gives me a lot of fulfillment is when I give training courses, I've had people speak to me afterwards or send me messages afterwards saying that not only has the course that I've been on, well, I've shared with them, been amongst the best or the best of its type that they've been on, and that they've learned so much that I've had people coming to me and saying it's changed their way of thinking. And there was one lady who said that on one particular day she felt a shift, and she suddenly started getting, on a much deeper level, some of the messages that I was sharing with her. And that's really important for me, because it's important to the people in my in the courses I give. If it's important for them, it's important for me.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely, Chris. Absolutely.
And something else about goal setting, I cut across you there. Something else about goal setting is the timeline technique, TLT. I use that before almost every course I give. So the night before, I kind of create my own future, whereby I visualize myself using the timeline technique at the end of the class, with everybody just having, the expressions on their faces, everybody kind of with the buzz, the conversation, people really happy, and me just being stood in the moments after the class thinking, wow, that was an amazing success. And then I leave it to my unconscious mind to decide how that's going to happen.
What a wonderful example of exactly that kind of goal setting, goal getting, with the conscious and unconscious. And the sentence we use so much when we're running our courses is trust the process.
Yes.
Really, Chris, you've really embraced it and really allowed it to be part of your daily life, part of your.
Exactly. And I used it this morning, and I visualized how I was going to feel, what I would see, the tingling I would feel in my fingers after this podcast finished, and it felt absolutely great. So now it's happening.
And how you're going to feel afterwards.
I do.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I love that. I love it.
The most amazing thing is it works.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
So, Chris, thank you. It has been such a pleasure talking to you today.
Can I finish off with something, please, Jools?
Of course you may. Of course, Chris. Go, please.
I remember an expression from a TV program I saw, when I was a kid, a really, really small kid. And it was about a disabled boy who was learning to, growing up, learning to live with his disabilities. And something his parents told him was, a dwarf on giant's shoulders sees further of the two. And all I can say is I've been blessed to be lifted into the air by some giants and see much further and greater horizons in my life. And you and Pip are two of those giants, and I thank you very much for it.
Oh, Chris, what wonderful words. That's amazing. Thank you. It's, as I said earlier, it's always a privilege. It's very humbling. It's wonderful to be part of people's journeys, and you are definitely one of those, Chris. So we are going to watch this space and see your name up there as motivational speaker, and not only a master coach, but that will also sit by your name, and I have no doubt that that's going to happen. So please keep in touch with us, Chris, on your journey, and let us know how everything is going. And also, please do touch base with Anna. She's fabulous. She will. She really does. You really will be able to model the excellence of somebody who is very, very good at speaking.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's also what the Edge community does. It brings people together and allows people to connect in one way or another. So, Chris, thank you so much for your time today. That's it with Chris Alcock today, trainer in lean thinking and one of our fabulous Edgeites. Please go to SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, follow us, Bitesize Edge, where you will get all of our podcasts as we record them and upload them. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.